So joining me now is my friend Kris Sims of the Canadian Taxpayers Federation. And I wanted to have Kris on the show because, well, we talked last week. She's such a strong advocate for Albertans, and she's just a brand new baby Albertan, fresh from BC. But boy, does she love it here, and we love having her. But Kris, you wrote this incredible piece about this thing that everybody seems to be talking about, and it's sort of cloaked in friendly language. But when you really break down what just transition means, it's anything but just, and it's definitely not justified. And it's going to cost billions of dollars. I think you have it pinned down to like 0.2 of a trillion. Like it's a lot.
It's a crazy amount of money. And this is why we had to break it down with a lot of questions. Okay. So
Right.
I think we should back up and explain what just transition is
Please.
as best I can, because it's new speak, new world order gobbledygook, to be fair. So at first, it sounds like one of those jokes on plays on words from the House of Commons. Remember about 9 months ago or a year ago when they got Prime Minister Justin Trudeau to say just inflation like over and over again in the House of Commons, and he didn't notice he was saying his name?
Over the past weeks, what have we seen from the Conservatives? Telling Canadians that the problems they're facing with increased affordability, increased prices on everything, difficulty buying gas, difficulty buying computer. They've just shrugged and said, oh, it's just inflation. Well, it's not just inflation, Mr. Speaker. It is a focus that we have to have.
The minister's response was just incredible. He said, even after house prices increased by a third, he didn't think about monetary policy. Even after gas prices hit $1.60 in some places, he didn't think about monetary policy. Even as CPI hit a 2-decade high, he didn't think much about monetary policy because he only thinks about himself. Won't he admit that what it took for him to start thinking about inflation is when we put his name in the word?
Yeah. And it's all a big joke, and because it's mostly high school, right, in the House of Commons. So just transition sounds like that, but no, it's not. It's actually the official name of an official plan of the Government of Canada. So that includes the cabinet, the elected members of parliament and the politicians sitting on the government side, and the bureaucracy, the unelected bureaucrats that we all pay for. So the permanent government that we don't elect. And what it is basically their plan to get to net zero, or whatever term you want to use, to get to the agreed to amount of carbon emissions internationally. So holding ourselves to our own, plans that we've agreed to. The Canadian version is called Just Transition. And what it means is just transitioning away from carbon-based fuels. So oil and gas, to normal people speaking. What's weird here and interesting is that other countries have their own plans, but all the ones that I saw use the word just in it too. It's super weird. I know. It's like this weird club. And so Scotland calls theirs their Just New Deal. And so this all blew up a few weeks ago when Blacklock's reporter, which, as you know, does amazing work there in Ottawa, just praise be, they found a memo that went to Jonathan Wilkinson. Jonathan Wilkinson is our natural resources minister. And the memo was from the bureaucrats, so his bureaucratic staff within the department, to him, to himself and his political staff. And it was 80-something pages, if I recall correctly, big, long honking memo. And it was to explore the potential impacts of just transition on the economy. And this is where we get to the numbers you mentioned. They're mind-blowing. Okay. In total, it would affect, they say in the memo, 2.7 million workers. So 2.7 million individual jobs and positions. So those are human beings that have those jobs. If you added up how much money that costs per year just in the salaries, just in the average StatsCan run-of-the-mill salaries for those roles, it's about $219 billion per year. Okay? So this is when your alarm bells are going off saying, holy cow, how much money are you going to spend here?
Oh, hey, what you just saw there is a clip from my weekly full-length show, The Gunn Show. It airs on Wednesday, but this is the internet. You can watch it whenever you feel like. You just have to become a subscriber to our paywalled premium content. Just go to rebelnewsplus.com to become a member today.